kilometers from the Defoufa. You understand what is the Defoufa, you know it, and this Defoufa was the capital of the Nubian country. That means your capital at the beginning of the history of Sudan. Here it is something else. We did during the last 5 years extraordinary discovery. That means that here we are in a very strange situation with a very strange town. This town of Dokigel is connected with the central Sudan. This is the reason why you will see that we found a very strange architecture. An architecture coming from the south, not from the north, not from Nubia. I worked during 30 years in this town there, near the Defoufa, at 1 kilometer here. And I saw that this town of Kerma was with an architecture influenced by Egypt, influenced also by Nubia, with the strong roots of Nubia. You know, there is an old tradition in this region, and the town of Kerma is using this tradition. He is connected with this tradition. But here in Dokigel, it is completely different. Till now, I don't know exactly what happens. Why this town, a ceremonial town, was here, but I try to understand, and probably the connection were very strong with the central Sudan, with the Darfur, with the Kordofan, with Kassala, and probably with Punt. Quite surely with Punt, because we have text in Egypt, and the Egyptian army are telling we arrived here in Kerma and we found many people coming from the south, and the king of Punt came. And you know that Punt is more or less at 1,400 kilometers from here in the Red Sea border, probably in South Sudan or in Ethiopia. And we know the connection with the Darfur by Eldar Bel Arbain. We are sure that there is a very strong connection. And this meeting point here was very important for all your history. Well, we will go now to have a look.
There is something new, I think, in Friendship Hall.
Yes.
That's something different.
A very important one.
Yeah, governmental.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
With Mr. Abdulrahim Hussein.
I don't know exactly, but it is very important, and it was not possible for me to change this date.
But our date is prior to that.
Yes.
Let us discuss after we finish, no problem.
خلاص كويس.
عشان ما نعمل لك ازعاج بس. اوكي الحركه بالنسبه لنا هنا كيف؟ ها؟ اوكي.
Well, here you are in front of very huge palace. This palace is 55 meters by 45 meters.
55.
It is unique in Africa. Actually, there is no palaces of this kind. And it is an extraordinary discovery for your country, because this is the roots of the Sudan. Not only Nubia, it is connected with Central Sudan, because this architecture is unknown till now. But I am quite sure that this architecture is connected with Central Sudan, probably the Darfur, but maybe with Punt. This is an important discovery. You know, with wall of 4.5 meters, and with 1,400 columns. If this column disappears in the middle, it's because we have new construction. For example, here we have silos from the Egyptian period, later, very nearby. We have also there other things. But you have, when we go deep, we find the foundation of this column. 1,400, unique in Africa. And unknown in Egypt too, unknown in Sudan. Probably, if I am telling that it is maybe connected with the Darfur, you have to remember that in the Darfur we have the Sultan of the Darfur, but much later. This palace belonged to a period of 3,500 years ago. Very old one. It's the beginning of the new kingdom in Egypt. And there it is one of the main periods of Egypt with very important kings like the Thutmose, like the Amenophes, like Akhenaton, like Tutankhamun. And during this period, the king of Kerma were very powerful, very important, and probably they asked people of the central Sudan to come here and to help them to fight against the Egyptian armies. For your history, it's a real great moment because we have a so big construction. It is so big like the Defufa. We did reconstruction at more or less more than 10 meters high. And these columns, very narrow, are probably connected with a kind of symbolic forest, symbolic trees. For example, in Kampala, in Uganda, there is a palace of this kind, but very new, 200 years old. And this palace was in wood. And the king of Uganda didn't have the right to go in the sacred forest, only on the way to the throne. We will go to see the throne now.
ورا بعض ها.
There is a danger. Mud break can be completely destroyed. And this is the reason why I try to protect the remains with 2 or 3 layers of bricks, and like that it will follow for the next generation. Your generation and maybe your sons and girls, daughters. Because if we can take that away, we can look at these remains. And as I told you, it is important for the history of the Sudan. Here you can see a seat, probably of the king, with a staircase leading from the paved road, going like that, and leading to the king place. There is another one there. And it is an hypothesis, but I am thinking today that this was a place for, and this for the house, coming to help him, and they were discussing.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Why the column is very near? You said this column.
Yes, this is a real problem. I think that it is a symbolic view of a forest, a sacred forest. Because during the modern town, we know that in many places in Africa, the sacred forest is very important religiously. And we have to think it is only a symbolism. It is not a reality. But the strange thing is that in Kampala, in Uganda, only the queens can go inside. but they have place to pass inside, but they cannot go on the place. The place of the king is here, but the king don't have in the sacred forest. I don't have the right, I have to be.
شكلها بين city.
At what region are we talking about? What region are we talking about now? If we say that they are coming from the south,
Well, it's very difficult to answer because, you know, in Egypt, 1,000 people researching, doing work from 300 years ago. Here in Sudan, everything is new. I was the first who told Defufa is not Egyptian. American archaeologist told 100 years ago. Was the lower part of a palace for the governor coming from Egypt. But it is wrong. It is not. It is a main temple of the city of Kerma. And I tried during my life to promote these ideas that we have a Sudan history and we have the possibility to understand the organization of this kingdom. There is a very strong kingdom here, and the Egyptians were afraid of this kingdom. At the beginning, I was thinking that everything was peaceful. I was looking at the modern people and taking, well, they are peaceful. Here it was a kind of paradise. But today I must say that it was not so peaceful.
there was
And the king of Kerma was very strong and engaged against, and he was alone? No, he was not alone. Kingdom of Darfur, kingdom of Kordofan, kingdom of Kassala. We know that through the archaeology, and kingdom from Punt came and helped this king of Kerma. The problem is that we don't know anything about the history of this region. I told you on the Egyptian side, it is the history of the world. Here in Sudan, everything
knows
is to
anything.
build. You have to build it.
we will.
I did my best, but I am very old now. And this is my problem.
This point is Bija, right? Or
Huh?
point, the kingdom point is Bija or
The kingdom is not known. Till now. People are working on the Red Sea, Egyptologists, and they found many stelae with the name of Punt.
okay.
Till at this more or less here,
but nobody knows.
nobody exact place know the exact place. Hatshepsut, big queen,
It was just traced there.
yes, did show us who it was, but we don't know exactly. Probably it is in Sudan, south of Sudan, southeast of Sudan, near the sea, or maybe in Ethiopia.
Yes.
This is the actual hypothesis. Yes. Well, at the beginning of New Kingdom, all this kingdom resist to Egypt. But with Thutmose I, the name of Thutmose I in Tumbus, and of Egypt here, and I came here. And in fact, he came after that with Hatshepsut with a lot of armies, and they colonized all this region for 300 years. After that, the Sudanese are coming, and you know Taharqa, he was pharaohs from here and from there. That means it is always a change between Egypt and Sudan. I hope it will be not be at the modern time the same thing. I hope it will be peaceful and friendly.
Yeah.
But here you have remained huge silo for grain, wheat, yam.
Silence. Yeah.
But you have also many other things. For example, these big temples belonging to the Egyptian. And we have Sudanese temple here nearby, and we found another one there.
Does it indicate something that the silos are very close to the royal place?
Well, in fact, the silo is destroying the palace. You see who they are? They are destroying the columns. Think that his place was full of columns.
Oh, okay.
1,400 columns.
I see.
And a very high building. And this, it is per purpose, they put the granary here, destroying the palace.
Ah, okay. This is in a different time scale.
Yes. Here you can see also a very interesting feature. This place is an offering table.
Yeah.
You have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns with a kind of baldaquino, a day in the upper part, a little roof on this roof, on this offering table. It was for the king food. In fact, we know that these offering tables are used for the food of kings or very high-ranked people, but also for religious purpose. We will see here an example. Nabak. And Dukigel is a modern name
Okay.
of last century, a Nubian name. It means the hill, red hill. But in fact, the name of this part was Pnubs, the Nabak,
Never.
sacred tree. And by chance, one tree began here his life, and he will stay, I hope.
You know, this is in Quran,
Yes,
Sidr.
yes,
Quran Sidr,
yes.
in
It is
Arab.
a very sacred
Yeah, very
tree.
sacred.
All.
It is one of the heaven
Yes,
trees.
yes.
Yeah, but without this, so much shock.
Shock that
Thorns.
spins.
Thorns. A thorn.
Yes.
Yeah, probably in the heaven there is no
Thorn.
thorn.
Yes. Round in shape, and this is typical of the region and typical of the Nubian history. And this is a little chapel, also with columns on, and with a wall going like that. And this is the entrance. This chapel is naturally not to offer food for the king, but to offer food for El Al, for the god. That means that these offering
Sanctuary.
tables are on both sides for the food, but also for the
For the
gods.
gods.
And during the Egyptian period, or the Napatan and Meroitic period, it is the same. You have huge bakery, you have enormous quantity of mold. This hill is completely done with mold to prepare bread for offering to the gods. And this is important to know.
لا 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 قال ما يجي ذات هنا ما دي لسه under conservation. From here جاي
ممكن بهناك مش كده؟ This fortification go to the quay there near the Nile. Using the ceramic, traditional ceramic.
It could be transported as well,
I don't think so.
No.
Not the small one.
not the small ones.
As you can see here, for example, these are the bread mold for offering bread. It is done with
Okay.
inside, and they put it in the oven.
Oh, okay.
This is the reason we have so many.
So many, yeah.
All that is bread mold. Here also you have thousands and thousands,
Yes.
and we count them to have a statistic about this work.
Yes, yes, yes. How many people lived here? Because the palaces were just a
It's
king.
the old
and
time, around 2000
2,000.
here in the cities.
It's big, not small.
During this period it's very big. 2000 is enormous. It is not like today. You know, in Geneva, my town, during the Roman period, one of the main period, we have less than 2,000 people.
No.
Here it is 2,000, and in the Defufa, around the Defufa was 2,000, and probably with a lot of people living in the countryside,
Yes.
in the farm. Are connected with the huge wall passing on these remains. You will understand after that about these remains. But this wall is connected with one bastion, 2, 3, 4 here. This bastion belonged to Thutmose I. When he arrived, he put a new fortification around the city and destroyed all these things. But after that, you have the wall of a big palace like this one, the other one there, when we walk on the wall. We found it this year. And here we have bastions, military bastions for the soldier, for the Egyptian soldier, with a huge wall destroying this palace. But we know by a stela in Egypt that under Thutmose II and Hatshepsut, the daughter and son of Thutmose I. Remember, Thutmose I is in Tumbus, coming. And he did here a big fortress. And this is the remains of this fortress. But we know by this stela that this Menenu, this fortress of Thutmose I, is destroyed by a king of Kerma with the help of 2 other kings. We know the name of these kings, we know the country of these kings, but we don't know where they are. Maybe Darfur, maybe Punt, but we don't know. We have only the name. And here you have another wall destroying these bastions, and you have new bastions, a new defense of a system of defense.
These are all different times of the city.
Yes, and I know that under these 2 front of fortification, there is another one, older. That means that always I have to discuss the levels. وعامل واحد سور جديد شفتوا كله البستول كسر ده كمان ماشي فوق وبعدين في تاني كده وانت تشوف الموضوع الصغير ده نوبي ده اركيتكت نوبي وبعدين تاني في تحت المحل هنا وفي النخلة هناك تاني في مع هاتشبسوت لكن ده شوف ده ماشي كده وبعد كده ماشي فوق ده هنا سنة جاي إن شاء الله أنا عايز أشوف ده زي ماشي لكن دلوقتي هنا تحت حاجة تمام أنت شوف السور بتاع الجاز 2 متر وانت شوف العمود كده العمود ماشي تحت 1 متر ونص وانت شوف هنا العمود وبعدين كده التحت زي الدكة قريب الدكة. الدكة كده ده ماشي فوق زي ده وده ماشي 10 متر. شوف ما كبير لكن استنى مع 10 متر. وبعدين قريب زي الثاني قريب الثاني لكن and here you can see it without restoration. There it was restored. All this is like we found it. And you can see the staircase, the seat here, and the wall of the palace. And you can see the offering table here. And the way leading till the seat. Here we have other features. For example, this small enclosure with columns going like that, and here with an altar. Religious purpose and politic purpose. الدين والملك, politic and religious. Here if you go on with a very small offering table. And here another offering table, behind a third seat. You have the seat here with a paved road, two roads.
Maybe.
And all these columns show you how it was. بس زي أنا أشوف الصناديق شغل صناديق.
كان في تراب يا بوني؟
تراب زي أنت
زي أنا
فوق
واقف.
الكسر. الكسر ماشي بعيد كده ممكن زي 20 متر زيادة. ده
restoration.
It is only the half part. بس كده كده في النص الباب.
صح.
أنا دلوقتي شوف الباب بتاع الكسر دي. هنا السور ماشي مدور كده وجاي هنا. الباب هنا في النص. شوف الباب ده ماشي كده مدور وأنا ماشي جوا الباب. لكن دوشة شديد بتاعنا هو المباراة.
ليه؟
عشان في باب تاني تحت. شفتوا كيف؟
كيف عرفتوا؟
ماشي كده ماشي كده ماشي كده مدور مش زي ده. المدور كده وتحت المدور كده.
اها ما كونسنتريك.
وبعدين الباب فيه
ماشي كده
هنا.
معناها الباب.
باب هنا مش ماشي سوا.
ايوه.
ده قديم ده جديد.
اها.
وبعدين هنا في سكة تاني زي السكة دي لكن قديم 1 متر تحت. شفتوا كيف؟ أنا ما أعرف أي حاجة عشان ممكن يعني
شوف هذا
كله الأمريكا ماشي مع
الفطر
الفوق.
ذاك.
لكن ده please coming here يا
شباب.
بعدين. This is typical for architects. This is the reason why I stop your interesting
conversation.
معلش. We spoke a lot about columns and explain you that we have foundation of 1 meter 50 because this الدكة ده كده. ده العمود ماشي تحت وماشي تحت زيادة كمان. كله ده عامل كده شوية الأول وبعدين ماشي بالبريك
Yeah.
وفوق الدكة. شفتوا كيف؟ وبعدين هنا في stratigraphy الكولوم destroyed the stratigraphy عشان ده جاي بعد الشقف كله هنا. شوف الحفرة ماشي كده ماشي كده. ده العمود ده جاي بعدين. اوه انا عارف كم سنة ده عشان جوا في زي في المحل ده ما كبير زي 200 print of seal زي الخاتم بتاع الفخار. الخاتم ماشي من حتشبسوت الاسم بتاع حتشبسوت توتموسيس الثالث امينوفيس الاثنين امينوفيس الثلاثة واخناتون كله فيهن. ده عمود ده مصري لكن المصري شوف الزول بتاع هنا وعمل زي الزول بتاع هنا. شوف العمود ده زي العمود بتاع الكاس من زمان. مش مصري ده. إذا كان أنت ماشي في مصر ما شوف زي ده. لكن عشان المصري موجود جيب الأستاذ بتاع هنا وعمل عمود زي النوبي. ده ممكن واحد باستيون ده بتاع عسكري لكن ده جاي بعد توتموسيس الأول وبعدين ده بتاع المصري بتاع الملك بتاع كرما. عمل كده كتير عمل كتير حاجة هنا بتاع بعد الكسر المدينة بتاع توتموسيس. Stone columns in the upper part. We are here at the level of the courtyard with these columns. And we go down and we found this door in stone and this is Napatan. It's more or less 500 before Christ. That means 2,500 years old. And we have an inscription here to say that it is the temple of Amun. And this column belongs to older period. When we go down, we found older period. And you can see here this big way leading to a palace of Thutmose III, Amenhotep III. And this stone pavement is lower than this level. That means all the temple was lower.
After 50 years of research on mud brick architecture in Kerma and Dukigel, we are pleased to present the remains of very old building in Sudan. It is about the discovering of the capital of Nubia that extend around the western Defufa, the main temple of the city of Kerma, and the traces of a palace of the last king. The Egyptians of the New Kingdom then built a Menenu, a Dukigel institution according to their architectural traditions. Under these remains, we discovered these extraordinary traces of the origin of the African architecture. Fortification palaces, circular temple revealed a way of construction yet unknown. The hearth architecture is characterized by unique round and oval plans. Circular places of worship are still occupied 2,000 years later in the Napatan and Meroitic period. These are the roots of the history of the Sudan.
حول حولي جنتال سلام حول حولي جنتال سلام حول حولي جنتال سلام أرمل سلام كوري غاينالوي يرمل سلام كوري